We're rolling, rolling.
Keep going.
Rolling like a river.
Wow. I want to keep this in because maybe you'll get a record deal.
I
want a percentage though. 10%. I'm not asking much.
10%?
Yeah. I know my worth. Okay, well, hello, Dominique. We just recorded an entire episode on Dom's podcast, The Uncomfortable Podcast, if you guys want to listen.
Yeah. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
But we talk. We're not singing, I promise. I'm just trying to get you some listens and stuff.
Hey, let me sing a little bit.
Okay. A little bit. Actually, she did start off singing.
Wait. Do you want me to sing something that will impress you?
How sure are you that I'll be impressed?
I think you'll be impressed.
Okay, go for it.
Tennessee whiskey.
What just happened? Is that a TikTok trend right now too? Like a song?
No. I would have you know that that's actually my favorite country song.
What's it called?
Tennessee whiskey.
I set you up for that one. I wanted you to have a win, you know?
Hey, thanks.
You're welcome. So Dom and I are on the podcast today. We have a few points that I really want to talk about before we get into kind of the nitty gritty of the episode.
The gritty nitty.
Yeah, so I would actually like to start off with the vlog, which it wasn't really a vlog. I did a play-by-play in my notes app. We went to music festival last weekend. Dom had her very first Vodka Red Bull, which Dom and a Vodka Red Bull is...
I just want to say me and a Vodka Red Bull is very powerful enough. We were in VIP. I got into super VIP where all the celebrities and cool people are.
For
Lizzo. That's how powerful I am with a Vodka Red Bull in my system.
You're really powerful, dude. I'm actually going to be replaced by this Vodka Red Bull. I'm out of the picture.
No, I have not been able to stop thinking about me, a weekend in Dallas, and a Vodka Red Bull. I mean, club, another club, bus, train.
I always get that one wrong. Club, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be me. Vodka Red Bull supremacy in Texas.
I love that for you. I'm glad that you found your drink, your avenue, your lane.
I will be out till 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So I desperately want to
Dom just kept saying, Kenzie, why have you not been telling me about this? I'm like, I go out every weekend. I don't know what you're talking about. I have been telling you about this.
I'm just incredibly powerful with that drink in my system.
Okay, so here are a few one-liners from Dom. She goes, no, she gave me a triple. Keep in mind, I was watching the drink. The drink, it was not a triple. It was a one shot. That was it, okay? She gave me an award-winning speech on how I'm incredible and will be a New York Times bestselling author. Dom is very nice when she's drinking. That's a good quality. Some people are mean.
Oh, I am nice. And it is true. Did I lie?
Thank you so much. Oh, and then it's complimenting everyone. And then you said, what does this mean? Once cowboy boots. My God, my girl can dress. Oh, this was about me. My God, my girl can dress. Bring her to the top two. Dom Roberts. Complimenting everyone again. Calling her something that we were a part of, an MLM. And then she said, don't even get me started on the MLM minions. That was something. You go, when white people dance like this, arm up, I think it was like this.
Yes.
It all makes sense to me now.
So I am referencing on TikTok, there was a trend, if you ever watch A Marriage Story, what's her name? She's in the Marvel movie.
It's the really depressing movie, right?
Yeah. Anyways, when white people dance with their arms in the sky and they're just waving them very slow and gracefully? Yeah. It's euphoric. Try it.
You had an out-of-body experience. I'm sure I have. You had an out-of-body experience. This thing, spend more time in nature. Shit's beautiful. From Dover, Delaware. Kenzie Elizabeth, she'll make you rich, you idiots. A direct quote, by the way. This is my favorite one. Did you hear Kenzie Elizabeth talking? That's money talking. Oh, then it goes Kinzernators versus the Fools. And then you said you wanted to become an advocate for Walk on the Wild Side, which is our favorite little food vendor there. You had a great time. So I hope you guys enjoyed my first little podcast vlog.
There's so much of that I forgot.
It was a great time.
Walk on the Wild Side. Those soba noodles were so good.
I would kill for that.
I would literally throw you.
I would be out the window. Is that what you're trying to say?
I would push you.
Mm-hmm. A light little push.
I would push you to the side.
Like a nudge.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would actually, this is better. I would go in the ring with you for soba noodles.
Okay. So if anyone has a budget of millions of dollars, Dom and I will fight each other.
For soba noodles.
No, for millions of dollars. Money.
And
Millions.
soba noodles.
And like I would like them to cater.
Walk on the wild side.
Yeah. Another bone I had to pick with you, and I was telling our friends here at Dear Media this earlier. Dom does this thing where I come to LA, and sometimes I come for a few weeks, and I'm here to like see friends and whatever. Sometimes I come strictly for work. I have a very, very busy schedule. These past 2 weeks I've been gone, bopping around the United States of America. And Dom does this thing where she likes to tell everyone that we know, acquaintance or not, that I'm coming to town. And it's like, I'm here for 2 days. I'm tired. I'm recording a lot. Like, I don't want to be rude, so I don't want people to know that I'm here. Hopefully, they just don't see my Instagram. And yeah, so now I'm getting all these texts from people, and I have been. Oh my God, Dom. And like, I'm talking to people that I didn't even hang out with when I lived here. And now they're all texting me, asking me to hang out. So that's all your fault.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's all I needed. But why do you do that?
Okay. I thought that it was like, everyone knew. These
people that we're talking about, I don't talk to.
Okay.
They're nice. We're just not close.
I think it was just a I think I pulled this. I think the reason why I brought this up.
You had nothing else to say.
I had nothing else to say to these people.
So you just like threw me out to the wolves.
Because they were just talking like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what's coming up? Like, what's new? And I'm like, oh yeah, Kenzie gets it done.
Telling everyone, guys. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be inappropriate by spilling your personal travel schedule.
Thank you.
I ran out of things to say.
Okay, that's fair. If I ran out of things to say, it happened like very few and far between, but you never know what's coming out.
Okay, with these people, what was I supposed to talk about?
I don't know. And honestly, I actually have sympathy for you now, and I you know what? Fine. If you need to throw me to the wolves in that situation, that's totally fine.
Thank you, Kenzie.
Okay, so we have a lot of things to talk about. I think I kind of want to start with something that I've been thinking of recently. We talk about this a little bit on Dom's podcast, and it's a self-realization I made, and I called you and I said, listen, I've thought that, when a guy does the same thing with a girl when he starts dating every single first date, every single time, and we all we talk a lot of shit. We're like, oh, okay, whatever. It was brought to my attention that just maybe, I do that. Because I thought about it, and I was like, how many guys have I watched The Holiday with? And then Twilight, and it's like, I actually do the same thing over and over again, and it's normally The Holiday. It's my favorite movie, and like, depending on time of year, and if I really am like, oh, you're cool, we'll hit like Twilight. But it actually is the same thing. I act like I don't like them, not in like a first grader way.
No. You continue.
It's more in like I myself don't want to like them, so like I'm in denial to myself, and then also I'm like, oh my God, like dating someone takes so much time, blah blah, whatever. So I do try to ignore it, and then also I don't like people like telling me if I should like them or not. Like if like friends are getting involved, I'm like, okay, well I don't want to like them because you tell me it's a good idea to like them, so I have to like figure things out on my own. And then Dom just has learned to just sit back patiently. She gives me a look. I already know she knows. But she so kindly, this is the nicest thing you do, by the way. She has nothing to say. She keeps her mouth shut. And she just waits for the day. And sometimes you wait a little bit too long because it makes me like stressed out. I'm like, okay, like this guy's literally at the house and like Dom hasn't said anything. So anyways.
It's almost comical. It's almost comical.
Yeah.
Because it's the easiest, like clockwork.
I do the same thing every time,
and it's almost, I just know exactly what to do. I learned very quickly because I was like, oh, okay, that's your move. And all I do is wait until it's like painful. I mean, like family members, people in Kenzie's close circle are like, Dom, what do you, and I say, only time will tell. And then
it's true. Time will tell.
And then as soon as it's out in the open and everyone knows, and it always happens like this, you just go, hey Dom, so
literally, I'm like, so,
and then it's just like trail of conversation, and I'm like, Kenzie, I knew this like 4 months. I knew this months ago.
Okay, that's fair, and I just think it's important to be aware,
yeah,
to be self-aware, and I am growing in that way.
But see, I love that works for you, and also I respect it.
It doesn't work for me though. I don't know if I would go as far to say that.
I think it does work.
No, it doesn't. But Dom, I think you do like a kind of similar thing.
I do.
You actually have a different routine that you've broken with boys.
I had because, and this is why.
Yeah.
So my routine was very similar because you and I are the same in the chemistry aspect. Because if you meet someone, they're cool, they're great, you mess with them, you vibe with them, it's great, awesome. Why would you not want to hang out with them or talk to them and they're your friend, whatever, cool. But the difference between you and me is there's intention behind it. Usually the guy coughs up the truth and is like, Kenzie, I love you. And you're like, bitch, I've been new and I gotta like you do. But for me, it never happens.
No, we do it differently. I have a different level of boundary than you. It's not that that's not happening for you. It's that you just get too close.
Yeah, I get too close. And then also there's never any like conversation of like what this could be, and then it just gets messy.
The lines are blurred and there's a lack of intentionality.
Exactly. So I'm just like, do you like me? Are we just best friends? What the fork is this situation? And it's exhausting. So now I've cut it off. I don't do that any longer, and I'm on dating apps because
I think that's good for you. I actually really respect that.
And that's the only thing I care about. I've had to live my whole life trying to figure it out, and I'm like, okay, either like I need you to literally like pull me by the hair and be like, I like you, and guys don't do that.
Oh, well, I would hope that they like wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah, don't
yeah. That's like pretty bad. Dom, is there a story you want to share with us this week, or should we glide on past it? How are you feeling today?
A story
Yeah.
that I want to share this week?
Yeah, it's weird that you're like forgetting it.
Wait, seriously, can you help me?
The shirt
The shirt
getting dropped off. She's gaslighting me, guys. She's literally I'm giving you.
Okay. This is what happened, you guys.
And this is also an example, if you listen to Dawn's podcast, of me not being a yes man. Okay? This is why she didn't tell me she was doing this before she did it.
Prime example. Okay, so let's just say I was dating someone that I liked a lot. Would even go as far to say that they're the first person that I've actually liked. Like, actually liked. I've thought I'd liked guys.
Like, big time.
But, like, this is a guy that I'm actually like, I can't even detach, disassociate. None of that's going to work.
All my coping mechanisms are gone.
Yeah. I was like,
out the window.
All my unhealthy coping mechanisms won't work on this one. So, anyways, I had a rough... the Vodka Red Bulls got to me this weekend, and maybe I opened it up to Kenzie that I was missing a certain someone. And so I decided to take matters into my own hands, and there was a shirt that I was supposed to drop off to someone, and let's just say the shirt got dropped off to them. I'm not going to say how. I'm not going to say who was involved.
But I'm going to say Dom turned off her location.
I did turn off my location.
Weird coincidence.
But the shirt got dropped off. Mm-hmm. And just a shirt and a note. Mm-hmm. Maybe there was a note.
And it's weird because like every time Dawn tells me this story and someone else is around, the note gets longer. Like there was one line when she told me, and there's like another line. It feels like this note is like origami. Like you really open it up. There's all these things.
Wow. I'm really putting it all out there. So on this note, it was a card that I got from Fred Siegel. It was really cute. One of those cute little calligraphy cards.
You really like him. This was like so last week, but yeah.
Yeah, just like let me live. Mm-hmm. So anyways, on the front of the note, it says, hey, this sucks. And I wrote some kind words in there.
Yeah, it's just like this story changes every time she tells it. And, we were talking about this last night, and I was like, Dom, this is a situation of which I think it probably would have been healthier for you to have not done that. However, I will support whatever you do.
Yes, because now this is where everything got jammed up.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, we left out a big part of the story. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So the package may or may not have gotten left on the wrong door.
By the way, the worst part of the story, as I realized later, you would think it's the fact that, the package got left at the wrong door. No, it's the fact that you had never been to his house and you just drop it off and somehow have his address.
He gave me his address.
Well, obviously, but like, I don't know. There's something about that.
Fine. It's fine.
It's fine. We're fine.
I mean, get over it. Like, I'm sorry.
Cry me a river.
I'm sorry I showed up to your house.
Yeah, get over it, loser.
Like a creepy hoe. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it did open up this conversation last night where we were saying, I'm like, Dom, it is really normal. I think sometimes the right decision is the harder decision to make. And I'm not saying necessarily specifically like with this situation. I'm saying even my own. Like, it doesn't matter if you miss this person, if you're sad, like that doesn't necessarily mean that you should text them.
Yes.
Or reach out. And oftentimes I find that relationships that ended earlier are harder to get over because you, with the person that you're with longer, you saw how it played out. With the person that you're with shorter, you didn't see how it played out, and it probably wouldn't have played out. I would argue that we make girls have a habit in general, not to generalize, but I guess I am. People in general have a habit of romanticizing someone in their head and making them out to be a lot better than they actually are. So we will romanticize this idea in our heads, especially when something ends early or short, or you feel like you didn't get the time with them that you wanted. And then we have this whole thing of in our heads how it would have played out. And then you're like mourning something that never even existed.
Yeah.
Because you got too ahead of yourself, or you're trying to fill in the blanks in a way that isn't helpful to you. So I think sometimes things like that where it ends like quicker, or you don't have it all played out. And I think this applies to long-term relationships too, but I think that we fill in the blanks and we romanticize them and make them out to be this great person. And then you have a run-in with them and you're like, you are like not at all what you are in my head. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's like kind of something that I took into consideration because one of the things that we were saying last night too was I was kind of bringing up like, oh, well, I don't know if I want what I wanted a month like this time ago and all this stuff. And I think that Kenzie helped me come to the conclusion of the fact that, you know, like stay true to what you originally, like stick to your guns.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard when you're constantly like bending and molding to something that feels better than just sticking to something that you know is good for you.
It's also easy to change what you want and lower your standards so that that person can still stay in your life. Because at the end of the day, what you want is for that person to still be there. And so then over time, you will then lower your standards or mold yourself or mold your life to fit someone who really didn't like fit in or belong in the first place.
Yeah.
And that's nothing. Again, like I think breakups in general, like just because something, a friendship, this goes for friendships, romantic, whatever, just because something didn't work out does not make either person or either party a bad person. Things just don't work out, and that's normal and fine. But I think that there's a big issue when all of a sudden 1 month you really wanted this and the next month you're missing them and you're like, well, actually, I think I would be fine with that. And it's like, no, that's just your emotions speaking.
Yeah. And I think also it's always harder when something ends in a healthy way.
That's very true.
You know, because if it didn't end in like chaos, fire, like I bust the windows out your car. Ooh, okay, maybe I just wanted to sing that.
Yeah.
But if it didn't end like that, then because it's really easy because you could just detach, dissociate, be like, I didn't like them in the first place. Look, they ghetto. But when they're actually great and healthy, you're still on good terms. You're kind of like, ugh.
It's a different kind of hard because there's a lot of other things to work through when it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
But also when it's healthy, it's the same way like when you've been in an unhealthy relationship and then you get into a healthy one, and that's actually hard.
Yeah.
Because you're like, wait a second, like this is weird.
Yeah, like this is normal. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is what normal is supposed to be like. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for opening up and sharing that story. We probably won't be keeping you guys updated on if it ever made it to his house, but we wouldn't know because like obviously it was someone like somehow and like another way it got there. So
yeah, stuck to my guns. Didn't follow up on if it got delivered or not. I gave it to the hands of the universe. So
there you go.
There you go.
Okay, I want to talk about reframing. That's a term that Jess and I used a lot on the podcast, and it's her therapist's favorite term, also one of my therapist's favorite things to say too. And I think we have had a shared experience of just kind of surrounding ourselves with people who told us who we need to be, who we need to talk to, how we need to act, what's deemed worthy, what we need to draw. I mean, you can name it, go down the line. And I think I've had, I don't know, I've had a very difficult time personally breaking out of that and not feeling shame for not wanting what other people are like projecting onto me of like what I want. And that's been a very difficult kind of thing to walk through. So what are ways that you, I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time in a healthy way, but what are ways that you are kind of almost like growing out of this?
First thing I think I want to say, I listened to a podcast it's called Politically Reactive, and it was, there's an activist who was talking about shame. Like, that was the conversation that was being had. And they were just talking about how, like, shame is our worst enemy because it keeps us in fear. Like, at the end of the day, like, fear is our enemy, and so is shame. And those two work really hard to keep us trapped in old mentalities, old way of thinking. Because the first fear lies in the fact that, like, you have to come to terms with the fact that you believe something, that you no longer believe something that you spent a lot of your time in life believing. Coming to terms with that is incredibly hard, and that's why even when, like, people get canceled, things like that happen, and whatever the case is, and people grow and change, and to this day, like, say someone who, you know, got canceled or changed, whatever the case is, the reason why people, even me, sometimes I'll see something and be like, I don't know, a couple of years ago you were like this, we have a hard time looking at it, is because it's really hard in our minds to come to the terms with the fact that people can change and mentalities can change. So it's fear and shame. And it's like the fear and shame of, like, what you once believed was a core truth and it no longer is. And you have to figure out, what do you believe now? And that's scary. It's really scary, and it's really hard to come to terms with those things, especially when we're still in our formative years, you know, our early 20s. And we were even more formative when we were in, like, a space in an area where people were telling us what we had to do, think, believe, whatever the case is, you know? So now I think when it comes to truth and beliefs and, like, morality, convictions, all of these things, one thing that I really stick to is, how do I feel? Like, how do I feel, and what do I believe, and why do I believe it? And kind of going through those filters of breaking down what you believe. I think it's really important to challenge everything. One of my favorite qualities about any person that I meet, and an instant way for me to be like, I like you, even if we believe different things, which is very controversial, but true, is I like that you can think for yourself. And I like that you recognize at one point you were this way, but now you're this way. I think anyone who can grow and learn from mistakes of their past or thoughts of their past, whatever the case is, moldings of their past, if you're able to understand that, like, sometimes you grow out of that shell that you were in, and you're able to create positive change that better fits your lifestyle, your mentality, your core beliefs, your convictions, because they're going to change. Mine are going to change in 10 years. When I have kids, what flies with me now probably isn't going to fly with how I feel towards them now. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to reframing your thoughts and reframing your beliefs, mentality, whatever it is first coming to terms with what you used to once believe and understanding that it is okay that you no longer believe those things.
Yeah. I think this applies a lot to even, like, negative self-perceptions, the way you think about yourself. I think everyone can relate to this. Growing up, everyone, regardless, inherently has some sort of, like, tradition or some sort of just, you know, your dynamic with your family, your dynamic with your parents, your siblings, whatever it is. I think there's so many things as you get older that you're trying to change. And I think for me, with the past few years, like, I have always been someone who, like, I am independent. I am myself. I can think for myself. That's fine. And I think I got to a point where it was so drilled into me that, like, thinking for myself was wrong. Like, that was, and regardless of that being the outward exactly, like, that's what, you know, if they're telling you that or not, like, that was something really difficult for me, because I'm like, I want to, like, still have my own opinions, and I feel like I feel weird if I have my own opinions and they don't line up with yours, because I know them that I have a different opinion, therefore I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
And that's been difficult, because I'm like, I think I'm growing, and I've gotten to a lot better place with it, and honestly, it's taken me way longer than I thought it was going to, but it's literally therapy. Like, I've spent thousands of dollars in therapy over this stuff. It's insane.
And here's the other thing that I want to bring up too. When we're talking about opinions, we're not talking about,
oh yeah,
we're not just talking about, like, oh, someone believes this, like, this harmful, like, mentality, and, like, oh, that's okay because you're allowed to have, no, like, but at the same time, I think that's how a lot of people get stuck in harmful mentalities and things that, you know, I'm like, dude, that's such a backwards way of thinking. And I think the reason why a lot of people get stuck in a backwards way of thinking is because they never challenge it. Like, you never challenge, like, oh, that didn't sit right with me. Oh, that's not cool. But because, you know, whatever, if you're set up in a system where it's not popular to challenge and reframe your thinking, I mean, I would be concerned about that. And it's something that, like, now looking back with, like, the past couple years and stuff and just my life, and I see moments where I wasn't able to, like, think outside of the box, be different, which is something I think I've always been up against, just with, like, my upbringing, like, growing up in the suburbs, like, things like that. I think that's something that I'll always be up against for sure, no matter what. But especially now, it's something that I, like, hold on to, like, that independence, that freedom to believe what I want to believe in the way that I want to believe it is so pure and crucial to, like, who I am today and stuff. And yeah, even in the negative sense too, I think for a long time, like, I would beat myself up. I would be so mean to myself. I'd be like, I at one point literally thought, like, I thought there was something wrong with me. Like, there was something inside of me that happened that is, like, there was, like, this inherent evil thing inside of me because I just could not get on board with some things that I would, like, hear, or people would tell me, like, oh, you need to believe that, like, this needs to be true, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, oh my God. Like, I would sit in my bed. I would never forget, like, sit in my bed, staring up in the ceiling, being like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I like this? Why am I like this? And I think that denial of self is toxic and dangerous. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times when we're, like, denying ourselves in such a way, it's really like, dude, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, you're just you.
It's also important to remember, like, I think for me, I really don't like operating in, like, black and white. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, for myself, I'm like, I don't want to operate in black and white. So it's like, you look at the past 2 years, I'm like, there were amazing things that have happened. And there's also been really, really harmful things that I didn't realize until I was older. By older, I mean, like, a year or two, whatever. But, like, I didn't realize until later on how much they would affect me. And then it's just this, like, you have to watch, like, the cultures that you're surrounding yourself with. Because, yes, like, there's a lot of good things. But also, like, with any group of people, there's going to be a negative thing. It doesn't matter where you're at. But I try to, like, keep that in mind as I'm working through things. So, because I don't want to, one, negate good things. And also, revisionist history. Like, you know, like, there were times that were good. But I do think it's just important to not lose yourself in the process of, I don't know, growing or wherever you're at, changing. Like, I think there were so many things that I felt that way too. Like, I felt a lot of this too growing up beforehand. I'm like, I just want to be me. And I said this the other day on Instagram. I was like, I'm sorry I don't want to be you. Like, I'm literally kill me, sue me, I don't care. Like, I want to be me and that's it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, and there's a lot of great things about that. And I don't think you're going to get anywhere by faking it to fit someone else's mold of who they think you should be, no matter how hard they try to mold you.
You're allowed to change.
Yes.
You are allowed to change. And anyone who tells you otherwise, anyone who tries to keep you from changing, be cautious of that. And here's the thing too. I think it's really important to distinguish like what's positive change and what's negative change too, right? Because it's good to keep people around you who are like, I don't know, that's not you, it's not your integrity, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, I also do think that like you should be able to do what you want in freedom. And I've changed so much.
We'll take you through Dom's Facebook one day, guys.
One day. And but in all seriousness, like even if we want to like dissect that, I've gone through like a trillion phases, but that is like a literal manifestation of how I felt on the inside. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna dress like this because I have to dress like this, or I need to stop dressing like this, or I need to stop doing this because everyone around me like doesn't like that I do that. So maybe if I start being like this, then more people will like me and I'll make everyone happy, and then I'll fix all the bad things that I feel like I deal with, that everyone talks about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was just like, God, that's such shit. That's not true. And I think coming to terms with that was a very big grieving period that I talk about in therapy a lot. It's a grief moment that I have. It's a lot of grieving, and grieving your old self, and grieving lies that you used to believe about yourself. I used to be so mean to myself. I was my biggest bully. Now I'm my biggest fan. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, you have to be able to watch out for you. And one of the things that I've learned is to stop trying to impress others and stop trying to just impress the other people around me, and like start impressing myself.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, I want to make myself proud. Like, if I'm my biggest critic, then I want to make Dom proud of Dom. And in doing, there's so many changes and shifts that I've made, but even one so simple as, dude, this is Dom talking to Dom, but I was like, dude, you're so nice to everyone. Like, I wish I could duplicate you as a friend. Mm-hmm. I'm serious. It's like one of my favorite qualities about myself is how amazing of a friend I am. And that sounds weird to say, but I mean it. Mm-hmm. But why are you so mean to yourself?
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things that like you ask yourself and you like could cry thinking about it, because you're like, damn.
I'm crying. I'm about to
start crying too, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like you are so mean to yourself for no reason, and you have every reason to like be the friend that you are to other people, to yourself. And I think like in this journey of like finding myself again, because I think, you know, we lose ourselves in our adolescence and then we spend our early 20s like trying to find ourselves again. I think that was like one of the things that I got caught on in this journey. Like, people talk about self-love this, self-love that. I'm like, no, I think I'm just trying to, because I had to like change myself so much and worked so hard in like my early adolescence to like appease everyone else. It's like I'm now just trying to build a person that like I always wanted to be but felt like I couldn't be.
Yeah. How have you like practically done that?
Practically, that has literally looked like me going into the mirror and talking to myself. That sounds absolutely insane, but it's one of the greatest tools I've learned from therapy. Mm-hmm. And it's called open dialogue. It's just open dialogue with yourself, because we have intrusive thoughts. That's human nature. We have thoughts that come into our mind that like I saw this one TikTok and it's like you're in church and like your intrusive thoughts are like Satan, hell. Like they're just like thoughts that like come into your mind. You're like, oh my God, no, like God, I love you. Like whatever, you know? And so we just have intrusive thoughts by nature. And sometimes if we don't check those intrusive thoughts, they turn into a truth we believe about ourselves. So creating open dialogue is a huge thing that has really helped with that. And so if I'm having a bad day, like a bad mental day where I feel like my thoughts are absolutely consuming me, I will walk into my bathroom, stare myself in the mirror and be like, no, where did that come from? Mm-hmm. Like I will literally turn into L Woods, comma L, present a case.
Woods, comma
L, present a case as to why that's true. And usually, most of the time, when I try and make a case against myself as to that lie that I'm believing, when I try to literally lawyer debate why that's true, I come to a realization that no, I was just being irrational.
Yeah, there's no truth behind it.
There's no truth behind it. And I think the more we break down those intrusive thoughts, the easier it is to catch it. It's because now, like, say I have a thought, like right now, I have like kind of some hormonal acne on my chin. And I'm just like, oh, I look like shit. But I'm like, no, you don't. And also, who gives a fuck? Like, okay, you look bad, quote unquote, right? No one literally cares. Everyone likes you for you.
People are also thinking about themselves, guys.
Yeah. Like we're all thinking about ourselves. And okay, yeah, worst case scenario, someone's like, oh, she got some hormonal acne. They're still going to be obsessed with me. Are you kidding me? My personality is still great.
Yeah, duh.
Hello. You're going to freaking be obsessed with me. So, I don't know.
You really took us through a roller coaster. We were crying. We were talking about TikTok. And now everyone's obsessed with you.
See?
I love that.
And this is how it works.
It really is, though.
That's literally how open dialogue with yourself works. It starts there. It gets a little painful. It gets a little hard. It gets emotional. And then you end with the fact that, like, I don't know. I like myself.
I love that. I'm very proud of you.
Wow, thanks, Kenzie.
I'm very proud of you for going to therapy.
Wow, thank you. I'll never forget when you told me I seriously need to go to therapy.
Okay, I didn't say it like that, but anyways,
I mean, kinda.
I think it was like a little bit nicer. Like, again, revisionist history on Dom's end. Anyways, I want to end off this podcast on a little bit of a lighter note. A fun little story you were telling me on our way to Blue Bottle this morning, and you never shared this before, and I just think it is interesting. Why do you not remember a single thing we've talked about before?
Can you just please help me?
When we were driving on Fairfax and about your green hair and who you met.
Oh my gosh. You guys, I have a conspiracy theory.
This was probably the first story you told me when we met, by the way.
Yes. Okay. So this is going to sound crazy. I'm like totally name dropping right now, but it's a conspiracy theory. So in 2017, I had lime green hair and it was short. I had a buzzed head, lime green hair. And I went to the golf store. This is right after Camp Flog Gnaw in 2017. I went to the golf store and I was in line and Tyler, the creator, was inside the golf wing store. And I remember when I see someone who's like my hero, my face, I mask it so well because I'm like, I don't want to be a fan. I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
So I was being chill vibes only. And I walk into the store and he puts his arm, like, okay, so I'm like pretending whatever. I don't see what's happening. It's chill. It's vibes.
Oh my God, you're over there. I didn't see you.
Yeah. So he walks up behind me, puts his arm around me, is on the phone. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, freaking out. And he was just like, oh, your hair's so cool. You're so cool, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, freaking out. So long story short, we have a little conversation and he goes, hey, can I take some pictures of you? Pulls out his phone and like takes pictures of me from the side, like straight up headshots. And I was like sucking in my like I was like K Bella, like literally come through right now. So fast forward, whatever, we had a few more run-ins and I think it was like the year after he releases this little angel. It's literally a little black angel. And it was like on the back on this graphic, it said child of golf instead of child of God. And it is this little black angel with lime green hair.
And listen, Dom is not the kind of person to make things about herself like that. But guys, okay.
No, it's just weird.
I think you were the inspiration.
I think I was the inspiration behind the little golf angel.
Yeah, the fact that he took photos too.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sorry, who has lime green short hair? Like, I will post it on like the Instagram or something. When I met Dom 4 years ago, however long that was, bright green short hair. You should bring that back, by the way.
I should, except I do like my hair long right now.
Well, I like the braids, so yeah, I get that. Okay, fine. But anyways, I did love that.
I was also serving jaw back then.
Oh,
Things changed during the pandemic.
No, okay, enough. But yeah, I personally, my verdict is in, and it's that you were the inspiration.
I think I was the inspiration.
And I'm not a yes man.
You're not a yes man, not at all. The Uncomfortable podcast covers that. But in all seriousness, I really do think I was the inspiration behind it. And I think about it to this day because sometimes I'll randomly see it. I'll see the little sculpture. I'll see the little graphic on a t-shirt or something. And I'm like,
by the way, it's been 4 years and she just brought this up today that she thought she was that. Like, she didn't even say anything at the time.
it's been a conspiracy theory in my mind.
Well,
But
I'm glad we got that out.
it's kind of a vain one. So
I get that. No, trust me, I really get that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Dom, where can they find you?
you can find me on Instagram at Dom Roberts. Instead of an E, it's an X. That's also my Twitter. It's great. You can find me on TikTok at Dom Not a Teen Mom. And you can also listen to my podcast with Dear Media. That's called The Uncomfortable Podcast on all streaming platforms.
Amazing. Love you.
Love you so much.